Today on SipTalk, we have my friend Andres Battaglia. Andres is not a real estate agent, but he adds a lot of great perspective and energy to the podcast. I think you'll enjoy this one. All right. Cheers.
Of course, as well.
How are you spending your time in quarantine? Right now, I know a lot of people have a lot of free time. But what's next? Have you considered getting a real estate license? Do you know in New York State, you have to take a 75-hour course and pass a state exam to get licensed? And most first-year agents that I work with, they earn $60,000 to $90,000 if they're working full-time. If you're interested, hit me up, DM me, or shoot me a text. 212-239-1839. That's 212-239-1839. And welcome to Sip Talk, episode 15. I believe this will officially be episode 15, right? Since the last one was kind of a bust. What do you got there to drink?
I've been trying this thing, like every spike saucer that I can.
Yeah.
So today I went to the store and they had the Bon Beef.
Bon Vive?
Bon Beef.
I never heard of this.
B-O-N-V-I-V.
Well,
I've never seen it as well, so I decided to try it. It has 0 sugars, no added sugars, and that's a good thing because if you're an addict to
sugar?
White Claw, White Claw, you know that if you drink 12 of them in one single night, you're going to wake up with a hangover the next day. And the hangover from sugar is super bad. It's not something that I highly recommend.
Well, I've got the secret stash of Lagavulin behind my desk. So I'm going to pour some of that. Oh, man.
I'm really self-conscious when it comes to buying alcohol because I've been going to my liquor store twice per week on regular days before coronavirus, and now I'm going like twice a day. So my guy just looks at me and goes like, "You guys have parties every night, right?" And I go like, "No, it's just me, myself, and I,
Yeah,
There's nothing else to do."
But you're lucky that you have a nice liquor store that's nearby. I can't find a single liquor store near me that is open. They close at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I have two actually. I have one on 148 and then the other one on 145th.
So look,
walk away from where I live.
Outside of your alcohol consumption rate, what I do want to talk about on this episode is your daily activities, because right now I feel like the way that I feel is I'm kind of setting what I need to do every single day. Like, I have to get like one exercise, whether it's a long ass walk or it's a run or it's like push-ups, sit-ups, and the whole 9 yards in the living room. I've got to get something like that in there.
No, basically my schedule is 2 p.m. I wake up, 4 p.m. I eat, 6 p.m. I drink,
oh, God.
9 p.m. I go back to bed. That's basically it. And then I wake up at 3 a.m. again just to, munch something in the fridge or whatever because I have free time at that point. Exercise-wise, you know that I'm not the exercise kind of guy, but I do go for a walk. I don't run. I don't do any of those things because I feel like I'm running out of air. So
yeah, that's called being out of shape.
Some people call it that. I just call it, surviving.
Hey,
so
cheers.
Instead of going for a run, I go for a walk. I
cheers.
I have a park really close to me. Cheers. I have a park really close to me that has beautiful views. I haven't been able to go this week because this week has been really cold.
It's been fucking freezing all week long.
Yeah, so I'm staying at home. I do some push-ups. I do, sit-ups. I do a lot of curls,
Yeah, I feel you there. But that's the other thing is, I mean, given I don't have to be up at a certain time, like I feel like I could stay up and drink every night. I've been really trying to limit that as well.
Yeah.
Do you have the TV on in the background?
Mm-hmm.
Can you turn that down, the volume?
Yeah.
I have my TV on because, but no sound because I've got MSNBC or CNN or Fox News or any form of news that I can get on 24/7 basically. But yeah, I mean, my thing is kind of the stuff that we could do every day to keep yourself from going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard for you to do something. I mean, I don't blame it on anything. I don't, try to overdo things. I just think of myself as being a hero. Like I'm saving the world by staying at home in my bed, drinking and eating.
Yeah.
But that can only go that far, so far actually, because at some point you're gonna have to pay for all those things, and if you don't have any income, then it's really hard for you to keep that lifestyle. Because I wish I could have like the income to survive like this for a good 6 months. I'll literally do it. I don't leave my house at all. I actually don't like leaving my house to exercise. I like to leave my house to go partying. That's basically it.
Yeah, but the income thing is scary. Did you get your stimulus?
I did.
You did.
I got it on. I think I saw it yesterday.
Yeah.
I think I saw it.
I got
it.
I got mine on Wednesday.
That's basically it. My mom hasn't got it, however. I don't know why did I get it if she hasn't.
Well, I think if you pay your taxes or get a tax return through EFT, then you're good. Then it goes in automatically.
Yeah.
But I mean, I look at the stimulus money as literally money for like toilet paper and food. I'm not looking at it for like anything else, like automobile payments, rent, utilities.
At least for New York, that's not enough.
Well, I mean, the thing is,
in New York, you know how expensive it is.
You could have a mortgage on a $130,000 house that might cover that in a different area. But the base rent in Manhattan, I don't typically see rent under $1,750 for a studio or one bedroom in Manhattan. So when you give that, the thing is, it's just not broken down very, very well between. It's not on a personal level, and I don't know how you would calculate that anyways, because
I mean, I think that they base that on red state or basically the Midwest, where $1,200 can actually be substantially good for them. But if you live on the east side or the west side, basically on the coastline, you cannot do anything with $1,200 in San Francisco. You cannot do anything with that.
But how would you qualify that? Because if you look at my tax returns, they're pretty reasonable. But if you look at my income my income is very high, but my expenses are very high. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the take home at the end of the year, it's a little bit different. But I don't know how you would, are you going to give me the full income amount?
Just because you make $100,000 a year doesn't mean that you can take all of it home. You also have to pay people back, and at some point, for example, if you make $1 million a year, and if you have to pay, I don't know, $1,950, you end up with $50 in return, which is nothing, and it's just unbelievable. I just don't know how
your audio quality sucks. Is there any way to change that up? It's really tinny.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine, but there's a real tinny background noise to it. But there's a couple things I want to talk about real quick, because I don't know if we were on the phone yesterday talking about this, but I see a lot of people who are not working right now because they can't, are a bit resentful to the people who are working, because it's frustrating to see there are people out there who haven't been affected at all, right? Who are still getting a stimulus. And things like, there's a bit of resentment there. But then you have the people who are working, who see everybody else on vacation, taking time off, relaxing, sleeping in, and their it's like a double resentment thing.
For example, what's going on in Chicago, I don't know if you saw the news. These people in Chicago, they were doing a protest outside Congress, asking for the Congress to open up the city and let them go back to work, because they were frustrated that they're not able to work. And the governor literally said, well, if you keep doing this and if you keep getting more victims with coronavirus, then it's going to be hard for us to open up the state.
I don't know. But that's effectively what's happening. The thing is, there's nobody taking really great leadership right now, and it's just you have all these. What they really need to just do is ship all the uber orthodox and super religious into one place, and they can just pray away the virus. I think that's really, if we could just get all the religious together to pray away everything, I think we'd be in good shape.
Oh my God!
You know what it is? It's your microphone is rubbing against your hood.
Okay.
That's what it is. But I mean, it's incredibly frustrating for me because real estate's been deemed essential, so I've been going to
Yeah.
the office. We're still trying to show, but it's just not working. And I'm trying my best to motivate agents and be here for agents, but I would say you know we're down 100%. We haven't had a single deal close in April, and it's the 17th. And so we haven't had a single deal. So we're essential, but we're just not transacting business. And the thing is, yeah, we can transition to a more virtual realm of the
Hmm.
business, which we're doing. We have 3D technology, 360 cameras. We're doing Skype calls, video calls, FaceTime calls, but this business isn't exactly suited for that. You can't have an auto mechanic work virtually.
Yeah.
It's just there's certain things you can't do. And I know that obviously you're not real estate centric with your life, but you know what it is that we do and how this works, and
Yeah.
it it just doesn't work this way. Um, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like, could you move into an apartment without seeing it?
It's really hard for me to give you my 2 cents on it because, yeah, it doesn't come down to whether if I can see the apartment or not. It comes down whether if I can afford it or not at this point.
Well, okay. Well, okay, good. I like that because can I ask you a personal question? Have you paid rent?
Yep.
I have
Yeah.
not. I have not paid rent.
Oh, if I did this month?
Yeah.
No, of course not.
I mean, I just think right now the stupidest thing I could do would be to take that much money and throw it towards rent.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know that
And I,
I'm not able to get evicted for 3 months, and I'm gonna, pray
which
on
is
that.
bad advice for me to give. I'm not giving. If you're working right now, I think you
Pay
should
rent,
be paying
yeah.
rent.
If you can, yeah, of course.
But if
you
you're
can,
not
if you have the
working-
money to do it, yeah, don't abuse the system and pay for it. But if there's people like us where we don't know when are we actually gonna go back to make money.
Well, yesterday we thought we'd be open on April 29th, and they just said now May 15th.
Yeah.
So if I thought I had 2 weeks worth of savings left, right, and went ahead and
Yeah.
paid rent thinking I'd have those 2 weeks left, but now it's another 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And in 2 more weeks they could say now May 30th.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't
and
know.
That's the thing for us, for people that are living, in this situation. I don't recommend you not doing it, but if you have the money to do it, pay rent. Don't abuse the system. If
Exactly.
you don't, however, then don't spend that money on rent. Spend that money on, food or things that you can actually depend on. Other than that, it's just really hard for anybody right now to go out there and buy things that they wanted to or get a new apartment, because I know that there were people that wanted to move to a different place or wanted to, do all these things. And with this happening right now, it's really hard for anybody to spend any kind of money on anything because it's not secure. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 2 months, basically.
Well, I mean, I've applied for every loan and grant that's out there, and I got one that covers 40% of employee payroll. So I'm able to cover 40% of the employee payroll, which is good, but I can't touch that money. That's not my money. I apply.
Yeah, but where is that other 60 coming from? And that's something that people don't
It's
think
not.
about.
I can't. I was trying to pay them, a few bucks every week, just for like toilet paper and food, and kind of in their back pocket type of thing. But the big one, the PPP, Payment Protection Program, ran out of money already. And I haven't even had any correspondence between me and the bank. But real quick, just while it's on my mind, I want to go over some tips that I would give to our real estate agents and to any real estate agents, because of kind of how things are right now, where you can't really transact business. But I do believe it is an opportune time in certain respects. People have so much more free time. I mean, given the hour of the fucking day that I sleep to is insane. I've never waken up this late in my entire life, I think. But people
I
have...
don't even know in which day I am. I thought that today was Saturday. So I called my mom yesterday and I told her, Mom, just, put some steaks out. I'm just going to go and do some steaks. And she was like, no, it's fucking Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. And on Friday, my religion, we don't eat meat. And I was like, wait.
Yeah, I was going to say
I thought today
that.
was Friday. Yeah, so,
Yeah. So, but really, what I'm thinking is for agents who have this free time, I think the number one thing anybody should be doing, agent or not, is touching base with your contacts. You have this free time. Um, when you guys popped by the other day, um, I was actually on a phone call, FaceTime with my friend in Colorado, who
Mhm.
were friends from South Carolina, which I lived like 12 years ago, more than that down there. Um, and we talk infrequently, but I still consider him a good friend. And we were just catching up by FaceTime because it's been a while, but we have that ability to have kind of longer at length conversations than we normally would. So I think touching base with people is really, really important. Even if it's just checking in, I send probably every day, I would say about 100 text messages just to different people. Um, and I really, and I have a gazillion phone calls as well, especially when I'm in the office. But
Mhm.
touching base with people is super important. Um, and it goes both ways. If it's business wise, at least they still know that you exist, and you're showing that you care. But also, I just think relationship wise, it's very important to do. Um,
Yeah, especially on the sales part, on the sales business, it's very important not to, let go of the people that you know or you made business with. It's very important for you to keep on in touch with them and be like, hey, how you doing? Is everything okay? Whatever, because there's people that on, I don't know, February or May, they moved and now they're not working anymore. So they're worried about, rent
but
and
let me
having a
let me tell
good,
you something. As a real estate agent in 2020, if you last spoke with somebody in late February or early March or maybe even last year, and then
Mhm.
everybody goes through this pandemic and this time off,
yeah,
2 months, 3 months, 4 months, however long it is, even if it is a month and a half, which it's already surpassed, nobody's going to even remember who the fuck you were once this is over with. So as a business person who
yeah.
relationships is how they generate business, we're not that's not you need to be in people's mind. You need to be touching base with people, especially in a time like this, because in 2020 when this is done, people aren't even going to remember your name.
Yeah,
People are
exactly, and
just
that's
such
why it's very important for you to just to shoot them off. If you have their number, shoot them a text message, send them an email. Let them know that if there's any problems with your landlord and you itself, you there for them. You can help them out, so they can actually be a reference for somebody else that is after this pandemic's all over. They can have a good image of who you were as a human on their worst times. You know.
yeah. Well, that's a really good point too. Everybody's going through shit, and it is good to be kind of an upstanding, positive person to reach out to people.
Yeah.
So here's another thing I have for real estate agents specifically is just get fucking organized.
Yeah.
You have all this time.
Yeah.
You know what drives me nuts because I'm super OCD is like the desktop of my computer when that shit gets there's too many icons on the desktop or files on the desktop, or having too many emails in my inbox, which is never a problem for me. I usually have like inbox zero. But organizing files, organizing contacts, grouping contacts. I have a group for clients. I have a group for friends. I have a group
Yeah.
for relatives. I have a group for agents. I recently started a texting group, so now I'm texting people. Um, and I'm able to differentiate who's who, which is cool. Um,
Yeah, and if you have problems with that, just start with doing like one little thing. One little thing will build up into doing a better thing the next day and a bigger thing the next day. You don't need to organize everything one single day. You have like literally 30
dude, you
days
have
to do that.
so much fucking time
Yeah,
right now.
you have so much time, but there's people that will literally think that if they do it everything at once, they'll feel accomplished, and then they end up failing, and then they will forget about it for the rest of the month. So just start step by step. Go for one thing. I don't know. Just go for a run for the first day. Then the next day, check your emails, organize your emails, check your contacts, put everyone in the category that you think it's better for each of them, and move on from there. Try to do the most as you can from these times.
Yeah, no, I agree. So here's the other thing I have though, is creating content.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what I've been trying to do, and I've been lousy at it just because I've been like in such a fog, in such a funk. But putting something online every single day, it's basically just like waving to people and reminding them that you exist. but also like
Tell me
recording,
about it.
but recording videos and things like that. Like I just put a hiring video on the Facebook ad platform, and that'll hopefully run and hit some people in Manhattan and the surrounding boroughs. But yeah, just creating videos and creating content, I think is super important because you'll have that. If that's what you, if that's not your thing, don't do it. But if that's your thing, you can create extra content now, and then you can use it down the line. So you're literally building your artillery, you're building your ammunition forward down the line. And then the other thing I have is engaging online. So, when we use TikTok or you use Instagram, there's not much there's not a community feel, right? It's usually one-on-one. You make a comment, maybe there's a couple of comments linked, you're tagging people. But on LinkedIn and on Facebook, you have a much more community feel, and the engagement goes that much further. So one of the big tips I have is really using those platforms, LinkedIn and Facebook, like a community. And the big thing is just engagement. And I found by engaging with other people's posts, it's brought me more feedback than when I just make my own posts.
Yeah, and you also have to understand what each platform is for. For example, LinkedIn and now Facebook is more for like business and things that you can promote, things like that. If you go to LinkedIn, you can talk to your peers, talk to people that are doing the exact same thing that you're doing, and therefore you can come up with, new ideas for the same kind of job that you guys have. Same as Facebook. Facebook is now, is no longer for you to post crazy things and stupid content. Now it's just for people that, want to reach to other people about a certain product that they have or, news and whatever. Instagram is something that you use, just to take your mind out of whatever it is that you're doing and, post things on your happy days. Same as TikTok. TikTok is for you to, just forget about what's going on out there and just listen and see people doing these videos that I'm one of them as well. Like, I thought that I will never download a TikTok or the TikTok app, and literally I downloaded the app and I just got so into it that I did one TikTok video and I loved it.
I think once people start using TikTok, they understand what it's about. But the beauty in TikTok, with Instagram, you can scroll from a video, the sound you can have on default off, scroll from a video to a picture, and you can set your phone down, not even put it to sleep, set your phone down and forget about it. With TikTok, one, the videos play on repeat. So you can't set your phone down, it'll just keep playing. Two, there's no off. You go to the next video, which is a video. Even if your phone is on vibrate, the sound still plays. So the thing about TikTok is it's uber addictive because you don't have that.
You and I have this friend that is so addicted that he literally will send us one TikTok every 5 minutes, one TikTok video every 5 minutes, and my inbox in TikTok is just of him sending us these TikTok videos, which I like it.
I enjoy it too, but it's a lot. As well. Do you know what I do though? Is I'm like an inbox zero kind of guy. Before I go to sleep, all my emails are answered, all my texts are answered, all my notifications on the work phone and the personal phone are fully cleared out. So when I wake up in the morning, and a lot of people stay up a lot later than I do, I wake up and I have all these fucking notifications from all the texts that the people didn't get yesterday, or they didn't look at their phone until they went to sleep. Or I'll be in a group chat and there'll be like 65 fucking messages. And I read through everything because I'm a full consumerist. I just can't not consume it. And I totally have FOMO, so I'm afraid to miss out. But when somebody sends me videos, for the most part, I literally I watch the entire thing.
Yeah.
So it's fun and exciting for us when we wake up and we get these messages, especially from this guy. But it's also like, you just sent me 6 messages. Like, I got to watch. That's 12 minutes of fucking video I got to watch. Like now, if I was going to try to watch that in the toilet, now I go from like, kind of a quick 2-minute to I got to break this up.
That's my addiction. Like, every time that I go to the bathroom, I literally sit in the toilet and I'll just stay there 5, 10, 20
Well, that's the problem when your legs get numb. When your legs get numb and you haven't finished watching the video.
All of a sudden, I just can't to stand up. I just can't feel my legs anymore.
Exactly. So real quick though, on the video thing, well, it's still fresh in my mind. So I was talking with an agent today. He's been taking videos to send to clients, and he's been taking 360 videos. We have a 360 camera, which you record it, and then once we can load it to YouTube, and YouTube has a platform where you can watch the video, but then you can scroll around in the video. So what I told him today though was so right now him and I are working with 2 clients. We have somebody looking for a 3-bedroom under 4,500 on the Upper West Side. And we have someone looking for a 2 or 3 bedroom under 10,000 in Tribeca Financial District area. So here's what I said. We're going to get videos of each of these apartments. Right now we only have 2 apartments for the $10,000 client. And we have like 5 apartments for the Upper West Side client. So what I said is you're going to send all these videos. Now label the videos A, B, C, D, E, and send them to that client. Let the client, and your message is going to say, let me know which video you like, A, B, C, D, or E. And if you're interested in the apartment, I'll send you the details. And the reason is you're priming their brain. And this is a real estate tip. You're going to prime their brain. If they like the apartment and you send them the details, they're already in love with the apartment. So they're going to go into an acceptance perspective of the details. And they're going to want to, so if it's a little over budget or it's a little outside of where they want to be, they're already going to want to have the apartment, so they're going to be trying to see past those things. Given it may, at the end of the day, still be a deal breaker, but they're going to be primed to want the apartment already. Whereas if you send the details along with the videos, the person may see the details, realize this is 4 blocks away from their boundary, and say, I'm not even going to watch the video. Or if they do watch the video, they're going in primed as a negative. As in they don't want the apartment. They're convincing them, even though it's a great apartment, they're already primed in the negative. And that's why sending the videos, because right now we're going through transition where we're doing things remotely and digitally and virtually, things like that. Yeah. And it's changing because you can't be with the client one-on-one, watch their body language. So you have to go in a different way. And the psychology of how people make decisions is really, really important. Okay. Yeah, if I tell you there's if I'm like, hey, I really want to introduce you to this girl. She only has 1 leg, but she's really beautiful, great personality. You're gonna meet her. You're gonna meet her and just be like, how am I ever going to get by this leg thing? How am I ever going to get by this leg thing? Now, if I introduce you to her and you're like, holy shit, she's beautiful. She's in a long dress on. Holy shit, she's beautiful. I really like. She's got a great personality. And then you ask her to hang out maybe sometime, and she goes, hey, you did notice that I only have 1 leg. Your brain's already trying to get. You're like, oh well, yeah. But I really liked her, right? Yeah, whereas you're not going to be accepting of the other way around. Because it's the way you're primed to do it.
Exactly. Yes.
So, on that note, though, because I really hate the video showing thing, have you done these Zooms? Have you done these Zoom meetings? Have you had Zoom hangouts with people?
Yeah, I do it with my family. But since I just have like 2 or 3 members of my family, we normally do Skype.
Skype, not FaceTime?
Yeah. Nah, not FaceTime. Because my sister is the one who controls all the technology in my mom's apartment.
Uh-huh.
So it's basically whatever she feels like doing is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to talk to them and see if I can go to their place and, say hi or whatever, my sister goes like, well, I have Skype. If you want to, we can Skype. And I was like, but I don't have Skype. It's a lot easier. You have an iPhone. They just do FaceTime. I was like, no, I use FaceTime for other people and whatever. And I was like, Jesus Christ. So I had to download Skype, create my own account of Skype, and do Skype with my family. And then we have these conversations for hours about how's life going to be after these, what are our plans. Since my mom has a store as well, she hasn't been able to make any money, and rent keeps coming,
For the commercial rent.
Say what?
Commercial rent.
Yeah. Commercial rent. And, same. Her house as well, and her apartment, she gets a letter from the landlord saying, listen, I know we're going through some really tough times. However, the rent is this, and this.
Exactly.
They don't go like,
and here are some loan
pay
options.
us whatever, listen, we're just going to, don't worry about paying this month. We know what we're going through. And no, they go like, I know what you're going through. I'm going to do the same thing as well. So, here's the rent. And that's basically it.
I got a call from the landlord for the office, and they're like, "Hey, are you planning to pay rent this month?" It's like today's the 17th. It was like the 15th or the 14th. Like, are you planning to pay rent this month? Like, what's going on? What the fuck do you think is going on? Like, we're not making any money. We're fucking closed down. Like, there's nothing happening right now. We are down 100% revenue for the month. Yeah. It's just insane. But I will say, because I'm super sensitive on this thing, because it hits me right at home, but then I see past that. I'm just like, but they're fucking due their rent. Like, the thing is, the oversensitivity with this coronavirus, this fucking COVID-19. You say coronavirus, people get offended because you're calling it by its slang nickname, even though it's not its slang nickname. But people are so overly offended right now. Like, I'll make a comment on somebody's Facebook post, and like 6 people get offended.
Yeah, I mean, but that has been like that ever since Twitter started.
But Twitter
gave the power to people that were powerless, and made them superheroes or social warriors. Like, whatever you say, sometimes it's not even their fight, and they will just jump in it and just cause chaos.
But it's just I made a comment yesterday about how we got 2 more weeks of the shutdown, and people were upset that I made the comment, even though I didn't even outlay a bias on it or my perspective on it. They're just like, you don't understand. We really need that because people are dying. Yep. Which also is, do you know the fucking people are dying thing? Have I talked to you about the speed limit thing?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to share it because we're online. Because not everybody, you and I had this conversation, but there's an acceptable death rate that just people, you don't understand that you have to make decisions in government that people are going to die no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's terrible to look at it that way, because on an individual level, it's very sad. It's very sad, and it's tragic. Yeah. But you have to put policies in place to keep the train moving effectively. You have 6 people tied to the tracks on the left, and the tracks separate. You have 1 person tied to the tracks on the right. All right? Everybody just says stop the train. But in many instances, that's not the case. You have to run over the person on the right. And there's no way around that. Now, bear in mind, that person on the right is going to have 15 family members that are going to, picket and protest and say, no, you can't do it. But here's my speed limit example. And I think we talked about this the other day. Speed limit 70 miles an hour. People are dying because of auto speed-related deaths. So you reduce the speed limit to 65. You save many lives. Mm-hmm. But people are still dying. So you reduce the speed limit to 50. You save many lives. But people are still dying. So in residential neighborhoods, you reduce the speed limit to 40. Save many lives. But people are still dying. Then you reduce the speed limit in New York City, Manhattan, for example, within city limits, to 30 miles an hour. Save many lives. But people are still dying. Yeah. So now the speed limit in Manhattan is 25, which I think is painful to drive that slow. Yeah. Because especially when you have a manual drive vehicle, it actually, like, you're on the high end rev-wise of second gear and the low end of third gear. It's just it's painful to drive 25 miles an hour. But you bring it to 25, you save a handful of lives, but people are still dying. So 0 is not an option when it comes to speed limit. I don't really believe 0 should be an option when it comes to the economy.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think that, and obviously the economy is not doing 0. It's doing like 14 miles an hour because you have restaurants open, sort of. Okay. Yeah. You think Harlem Public is making anywhere near the amount of money they need to even cover their rent?
Not at all.
No, they're keeping a tenth of their staff on, and they're probably doing about a tenth of business, which covers also a tenth of their rent. So yeah, they're able to pay full salaries for a tenth of their people, and keep their suppliers paid, because don't forget the bar just can't shut down and then the economy keeps running outside of this restaurant or the bar industry. The whole fucking supplier industry shuts down, right? Yeah. The transportation, the supplier, but the buyers and the sellers of the produce. But then What about the farms and the places that are actually producing this stuff? It's That's my point though. Is you can't bring things to 0 miles an hour, right? And then still expect rent to be paid. And there's all these protests and petitions to sign to have that people don't have to pay rent, which I think that would be good for me. Like, I'm happy to sign it, but I just don't think it's comprehensive enough. I don't think it's fair to tell landlords they can't earn rent.
It's affecting us left and right, and since we never had this kind of pandemic and we were not prepared for it, we don't know how to act upon it. Because we are the country that has the most resources. We are, a superpower. Yet when this happened, we got hit the hardest, and we didn't know what to do. We don't know what to do, and we don't know what's gonna happen later on as well. And it's a combination of everything. Politics, from any point of view you want to see it, globalization, and all of these things really fucked us up really bad.
Well,
And
can I tell you, these conspiracy theories though are driving me out of my fucking mind. Everybody's got a conspiracy theory. I don't worry about shit that I can't worry about. That's fully out of my control. I don't think, the thing is, people are so afraid of change, and if the United States turns into a full socialist country, we're just going to have to deal with it or move somewhere else. But I think most people are just going to actually deal with it. If it turns fully communist, I actually think most people are just going to deal with it. You can't be
it's not like you can just fucking leave this place and go somewhere else or do something else. Wherever you go, you're going to find something that you don't like about a government, you don't like about our society, and you just have to deal with it. You just have to man up and,
But doing your part, unless you're about to start this huge fucking pushback against the government, which, if that's what you want to do it. But if you're just going to keep reposting people's conspiracy theory shit on Facebook,
you're not helping anything. You're not doing anything.
Do your part where you have a control. Fucking recycle, which I do, and then shut the fuck up, man. It's just it's dry. There's so much shit right now that are so many hot points for me, and I'm just questioning my future as it is. Like, I don't know where the fuck this stuff is going to turn out. But I'm going to do the part that I can.
I'm ready to go back to live with my mom. Like, literally.
I mean, me too. Like, I would totally live with family if shit hit the fan.
2 days ago, and I was like, Mom, you see, you have like a huge amount of space for the dog that you have. Like, the dog and I can share the same space, You don't need to spend that amount of space on a dog. He's a Chihuahua, and, it's like, I can fit in that bed. I can.
But that's how I feel right now, because I'm doing everything in my power. I've applied for over $1 million worth of grant and loan money. Okay?
Yeah.
The likeliness that shit's going to come through, very slim. If shit hits the fan, but again, that's what I'm saying, everything's up in the air. So I'm doing what's in my control, and I'm just waiting. I'm just literally just.
There's some people that go like,
just chilling.
Your goal right now is to survive, and I go like, yeah, my goal is to survive. But if I have the technology right now to apply for grants, to apply for as many help as I can, don't feel bad for applying to these places where they give you free food or they give you like money rent. Don't be what do you call this thing? Don't be so egocentric.
Yeah.
Save the money that you have, and if there's places that give you food, give you money rent, they give you whatever help they can, just go, get it.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, there are people
5 hours in home applying for this thing, and then you'll be set for the next month.
But there are people that have never been on food stamps or waiting in line for food and things like that. But I mean, I was watching in Texas the lines of cars, and I'm watching BMWs
LA, Texas?
and Mercedes pull through those lines, and I feel the same way because given I do
compared
relatively
to the
pretty
amount
well.
Of money that we pay in taxes, like I go like the first thing that comes to my mind is like, okay, last year you fucked me left and right on taxes. Now it's my turn to use WIC, use food stamps, use as many things as I can to get that money back.
Well, but and which is also, that's the way that stuff is supposed to work. It's supposed to benefit the upwardly mobile. You're not supposed to exist on that for forever and ever. They're actually designed to help people exactly where we are right now, who are upwardly mobile, not people that are not making moves. But yeah, man, there's a lot of frustration with this shit, and I just like I said, I wanted to grab you on the line and and just kind of touch on some of this shit because it's been a little while since we've done any of these podcasts, and I appreciate you. I fully appreciate you jumping on and grabbing some beverages to participate.
Always.
So, cheers to that, and I'll catch you later.
Talk to you later.
All right,
Good
thank
night.
you. See ya. All right. It's Friday night. Enjoy it. See ya. Thank you so much for checking this out. Please, please, please consider sharing with your friends. I'd love to get the word out. Also, you can text me. If you're interested in a position as an agent or you just have a general real estate question, feel free to text me. My number again is 212-239-1839. That's 212-239-1839.